everybody. Welcome to the Never Consistent Schedule podcast. It's I did a little joke there based on the fact that we don't post often ever, and that it's.
I made a joke, but really, it's a warning sign to me that I should be posting more often. Not me. I'm a guest, but Love should be posting more often.
Yeah, I should be. Well, here's the thing.
I'm also not projecting at all right now.
It's true. You're not. You don't have a projector in your hands.
One time, can we just jump straight into stories, or should we do introductions?
What do you want?
Well, first off, hi, I'm Dradex. I've been on other podcasts and stuff. Hello. And so one time, a while ago, I was watching a movie with my girlfriend at the time, and
what, your mom?
We couldn't get the movie to work.
You didn't say no.
Wait, what did I say?
I asked your mom, and you were like, you didn't say no.
I didn't hear you. No, but I was watching a movie, and we couldn't get it to work on, like, the TV, so then we had to get it to work on, like, the laptop. And this was very chop shop, because we still wanted to see it on, like, a big picture. Now that I think about it, why didn't we just watch it on the laptop? I don't know. I guess we just wanted to be cinematic or whatever. But in order to do that, we hooked it up to a projector and tried to project it onto a screen, onto like a wall. The thing is, there was no empty wall, and if we were going to project it onto a wall, we'd have to take a bunch of shit down, and she didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
So instead, we just projected it onto the TV and hooked the laptop up to a couple of Bluetooth speakers. It was very interesting, admittedly, but yeah, that was one of the rare times I fucked around with a projector. Also, that was a very awkward experience watching that movie because it was
you were in it.
What was the movie? It was Pan's Labyrinth, which is an okay movie, but it's very depressing.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that at all. Like, the only Guillermo del Toro movies I've seen are Hellboy, and like that's it.
Heckboy.
So
for the record.
I didn't know, and Hellboy's like a lot more of like an action
Heckboy
packed.
for the record.
Yeah. At risk of being demonetized, we're going to call it Heckboy this time.
There's a racist
So good old
demon in
Heckboy. Heckboy is a wonderful action-packed thrill ride, and the first movie is amazing, and the second one is even better. But that's the only reference I had to Guillermo del Toro. So when I got into Pan's Labyrinth, I was assuming at the very least he was going to be kind of adventurous and interesting. But it's like mostly a military movie. I was very disappointed with it, actually. It's a lot of like military dudes standing around, and once in a while you go to fantasy world, but then you just come back to reality, and I'm like, well, this is boring. And what sucks is that I was sitting there at like my girlfriend's house, like with all of her fucking family and her two children, not her two children, her two like younger stepbrothers, who were wandering through, but they were of children age, and they were like wandering through and like looking at the TV every now and then, and I'm just like, this was a bad idea. And then like her fucking sister showed up and sat down and tried to watch the movie with us, and then she got up at some point and was like, this is boring, and then she left. Yeah. The whole time I felt like I was fucking glued to that seat with like this whole house judging the shit out of my shitty taste in movies.
Yeah.
I felt super awkward about that. That was the thing though, that whole that girl that I was dating, this is Kat, if you remember her by name. This was that one relationship I had, Kat, and she
was into Zoophilia.
What? Wait, who's Zoophilia? Is this?
It's cat.
What's Zoophilia?
It's fucking animals.
That's called being a furry. All right.
No, that's not. No, there are.
You
are
would
nuances.
know, Love.
There are nuances.
Why do you always get this wrong and start making up words in front of people?
There are nuances.
I like to imagine that in the furry community, there's like levels. Like, you know how there's levels of oppression?
There are totally levels.
What?
Yeah, it's completely real. That's like, there are people who are like into very anthropomorphized, and some that are not very, some that are into straight.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Why am I saying this?
Love, no. Keep saying it. Go on.
I don't know what more there's to explain. I thought you knew that.
I'm sure that this would actually be very
fact.
fascinating for some people to hear. So what's like a normie level? Like you just
Let me clarify. I'm not the biggest furry boy. I've enjoyed it, but it's not my thing. Okay, it's not my main thing here. Just
and you know what? And you know what?
Yeah.
To jump on that as well. There's no like actual like making fun of here.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no like
It's just
ridicule involved in this. Literally, I don't know much about the furry community in the slightest.
Okay.
But with all the weird porno that exists in the world, honestly, furry is not that bad. It was bad like back in, I don't know, 2010 or something.
I remember back when it was like, it does kind of annoy me how it's completely just like acceptable for people to be like, kill all furries, am I right? It's like, fuck you, dude.
Well, and also because, and we'll get into the levels of furry in a moment, but I also just, I want to add onto this the whole like sex thing. On the internet, there's a lot of like levels of sexuality, and if you spend at least 2 seconds on Tumblr, you'll be aware of all of them.
Nah.
And there's not, and I don't think that there's really anything legitimately wrong. With all that. When it becomes wrong is when you break the law or when you're harassing another human being.
Yes.
But art is art, and when art invokes emotions in people, and those emotions can also be sexual. Yeah. All right.
It's cool.
That's a very poetic way of saying that if you're a furry, whatever, you know?
It's good in the hood.
The way that it becomes a bad thing is when you act like a fucking dipshit and you go out into like public in your fucking fursuit and you get all loud and proud and gay in front of everyone. Then you're harassing people, and then that goes against what I was just talking about.
Yeah. Go to a furry convention. Go. This reminds me of...
Well, at conventions, that's cosplay, though. That's not harassment.
This reminds me of a conversation we had where we were talking about if they made a furry convention on top of Mount Everest, where like after the convention was done, everyone just came sledding down the mountain in their fursuits because it's so cold, and you could hear like Flight of the Valkyries playing in the back and like and like there's some old fucking man who's like 90 years old sitting at the bottom guarding them. I was like, what the hell? Like
dude, all right. I probably won't be able to find the footage, sadly, but there was a convention I went to, Anime Central. The first time I ever went to Anime Central, I was going to make a video about it, like the one I made of PAX, you know, with my little rip-off of the Daily Show or whatever it's called.
I need to kill myself right now. Hold
on. Okay.
I need to cyanide. Hold on.
Love, stop. I was at this convention, and I was like, and it was really fun. Anime Central's super cool, and I love going there all the time. I can't go this year because of school, but
you can't go because they banned you.
Yeah. But the first time I went, I had my camera out, and I was just filming like everything. And dude, there was this group that I think goes every single year, and they're literally an army of furries. Like, it's at least 10 dudes, all in furry outfits. And they walk around, and they never talk. They just wander around in their fur costumes, and they bump into other people who are, like, trying to take pictures, and they photobomb, and they just act like, you know, goofy and weird, you know, for the meme.
Yeah.
And at one point, I was filming them from, like, far away, and...
running.
No, they did. I saw them from far away, and I was like, oh my gosh, dude, furries. And I think they heard me, and they like looked over, and they all started walking towards me.
What if they looked at you?
And they started like holding their hands out, like,
oh god.
They started twiddling their fingers, and I was just like, oh no, oh no, oh no!
It's genuinely terrifying.
I have footage somewhere, and if I can find the footage, I'd really put it up somewhere. But there really is footage of me being buried under like 10 furries.
I need this footage. Everyone, can we petition to remaster this 35mm film reel if we find this?
You know what? The next time I go to Anime Central, which I guess will be next May, I'll try and find them again and see if I can get them to do it again.
Wait, May from Night in the Woods, the game you love?
The love? Stop! You know, at first I was thinking to myself, oh man, when I made that review, I was just kind of reiterating what everyone was already thinking. Because everyone in the comments is like, yeah, I didn't really care for this game either. But then I go in my fucking Discord and everyone's like, man, I love Night in the Woods. This is my favorite game. I drew all this fan art and I loved it a lot. It was a huge part of my life. And I'm just like,
Let me recount a real event that happened, everyone. Just so you know, okay?
Yeah.
Hayden was sitting in his tower, his home. He was sitting there cackling as he uploaded a video, and a small handicapped child came up to his house. They knocked on the door. They said, hello, Mr. Dradix. Night in the Woods, it helped me. It helped me through I broke every bone in my body, and it healed me, and I feel better now. And you know, my everyone in my
I
family
really wish
dead
you would
but
not
me.
badmouth my favorite.
Please don't be
my
mean
favorite
to
game
my
that literally stopped me from suicide.
Yeah, exactly. This is what happens. Okay, he's like, if anybody would badmouth this game, I don't know what I would do with my life. He pulls up his phone. I got a notification on YouTube. He clicks it. He starts watching. He's like, what's happening? And so,
by the way, for context, for some people,
this
badmouth
happened
game
for
called
real.
Night in the Woods.
This happened for real.
No, this didn't fucking happen for real.
And he goes, oh no! And then like he turns around. He runs his wheelchair into traffic.
He runs his wheelchair into traffic.
And Hayden swivels his wine glass and says, "Peasant," and he walks back in.
So what actually happened was I was bad-mouthing this game.
You just kicked him in the face. That's all.
I was yeah, no, just completely cut out all that other like self-righteous bullshit. I just ran up to a handicapped kid and just RKO'd him in front of everyone. Let me tell you, it was a pretty satisfying thing. You know, you really want to put these stupid bitches in their place. No, so I was reviewing a game called Night in the Woods, and I made it only because I was mad at love. Did I ever tell you that?
See, here's Hayden. From this Hayden has this weird thing that I think he's found this understanding that because I talked about Night in the Woods, I was like, that's a good game, and I was like, that's a good game, and you're like, you enjoying this, it makes me mad. And Hayden thought that this meant everybody loved Night in the Woods, but it's this really fucking, it's not even, it's quite unknown. Most people don't know.
For like a month and a half,
fucking,
I was hearing this stupid bitch just being like, I love Night in the Woods. It's the best game ever.
You know what? I'm gonna say though,
they played the music and I draw the cat. Isn't it cool?
I completely agree with your review.
Yeah. I made this video just to kind of badmouth Night in the Woods because first of all, I did not see this game as like
handicapped fans.
Well, no, I didn't see the game the way a lot of other people do. See, a lot of people look at it and think like, oh man, this is this amazing independent title that came out and they made it like this wow standout thing, and it was such a small group that worked on it.
Nice people made
I didn't, well,
from the kindness
first of all, it doesn't matter if nice people made the game. If the game was crappy but it was made by nice people, then, well, they goofed up, and that's a shame, isn't it?
From the kindness of their heart, they said, we will make this.
They made it, like, they got the, what is that thing in 80s movies where it's like, we saved up enough money to get the rec center. Yeah, we got the rec center back together just so that we could develop this game.
Jenkins, and he comes in, he has like a gold tooth, and he's like, yo, damn kids. Hayden is that guy, just you
and fucking, but no, to me it was a game that like everybody was talking about and highly praising and being like, you know, the reason that the sound design in Night in the Woods is absolutely perfect. Like these are the videos I was seeing all over the place.
Design, though.
And I was like, and I was just thinking like, I played through the game. It's remarkably uninteresting, and also it's really pretentious.
It's not fucking pretentious. It's just
some of my
good.
Oh my god, yes it is.
It's not good. That's all it is. It's just not good.
Like all right,
everyone
I'm getting
calls
a little
everything
angry
pretentious. Faggots.
No, it's pretentious because all right, our lead character right off the bat is
I love this conversation right now.
the lead character right off the bat
is a cat.
Comes home. Yeah, first off, she's a cat, the most pretentious animal on the planet. All right,
that is true.
The character design was so obviously projecting. Like so. Our character comes home, and, you know, she left home because she was being accused of, you know, some nefarious shit, you know? And I'm trying not to spoil anything in Night in the Woods, but basically she comes home and everybody hates her. And to be honest, I don't think anybody hates her because of some possible criminal activity she did in the past. I think everybody hates her because she talks like a self-righteous bitch.
Wait, yeah, that's the point of the end of the game where you realize, oh, she's just a bad person. And
Yeah, that's not a good thing. Like, oh my god.
But Breaking Bad, though, that's the show where somebody turns into
Yeah,
a
no,
shitty
well,
person.
okay. So then we go back to Breaking
I'm
Bad.
not gonna compare.
It's not the same, fine, but let's compare. No, let's really compare.
Yeah.
Because you need to think about that when you're writing characters. Oh god, now I sound pretentious. All right, so in the case of Breaking Bad, you have a character that's obviously doing something bad and something that you should never aspire to. But that's not the point of the story. The point of the story is you're watching a character that's going on hard times, and the character is likable enough that you can also follow them. Just because somebody is like having some bad troubles, just because there's drama in your story doesn't automatically make your character likable. Let's talk about an anime right now, okay? So there's an anime out there called I'm actually gonna get probably some hate for this. Full Metal Alchemist.
I've never seen this.
I do not like it, and only because I don't like the lead character.
Oh,
I feel like the
shit.
lead character is just annoying. He's smarmy. The first episode to introduce the character is well, okay, some more context for like who he is. Basically, he's like an alchemist, and he can make shit from.
He's a Full Metal Alchemist at that.
Yes.
Hayden, hold on a second. Hold on, I need to hold on, just you're getting a knock at your door, Hayden. Hayden, there's a knock at your door. Hayden.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello?
I'm the handicapped kid's brother. I watched Full Metal Alchemist and it helped me, Hayden. It cured my blindness.
Really?
I live now.
Really, it cured your blindness?
It did.
It took away.
Why did you kill
the
my
Full
brother?
Metal Alchemist? He took my eyes and he replaced them with eyes that fucking worked.
Why did you kill my brother?
Why did you kill my brother? No, you should like Full Metal Alchemist. Remember the scene with the dog? Wasn't that sad? Yes, it was. And that was one good scene. That's the only good scene that people bring up, too. Now, here's the deal, though. I don't want to be like a ding-dong right now and just completely trash a show. I just don't like it because the character comes off as schmarmy and preachy, for one thing.
Yep.
And it's annoying to follow a character that sounds like they think they know everything.
Yeah.
I really, and this is personal, like I'll just say that, and you'd probably get a lot of success and a lot of people really like it. Me personally, I don't like characters like that talk like they know everything and they're like, and there's not a single hint of irony to their voice or the way they perform. They just walk around like being preachy and acting all like aloof to the rest of their crowd, and it's just not interesting. It's annoying. And it reminds me of like, this is also why it's very personal. It reminds me of my teenage years when I was doing shit like that and
I'm just gonna
fucking nobody. And you get like no response like that in real life. If you act like an asshole in front of people, nobody's gonna be like, oh man, this guy's really cool and he knows a lot of shit. Like you don't. You're just an asshole. So yeah, I hate stories like that. And that's why I didn't like Night in the Woods either. It felt exactly like that. Like the entire cast is just a bunch of smarmy hipsters. Nobody sounds like they enjoy being alive. It's like, I don't want to go on an adventure with a bunch of people that are just like smarmy and sarcastic and are like, oh man.
What is your thought, Ken?
Yeah, you know what? That's a great fucking question, isn't it? No. That's the real reason ThoughtCam was fucking canceled.
Jesus.
No, yeah, but that's just the reason I do not get into Night in the Woods. It feels like smarmy and pretentious. And all the things people say about Night in the Woods also sounds smarmy and pretentious. Like, you know,
like I like
the sound, not the sound design. The character designs are so brilliant.
Well,
it's like the character designs are.
They look good.
They look good, yes. But so it's fucking annoying to hear people be like, oh, well, they're so perfect because they're of the, what was it? Like someone said, because they're working in a minimalistic design.
And they pulled
you know what? I just realized something. So there was a video I saw somewhere where they were talking about how the character design in Night in the Woods is objectively perfect because it's a minimalistic design.
Objectively perfect. I don't think they said objectively perfect.
You know what? Maybe they didn't, and maybe I'm over exaggerating. But it bothered me because this person was obsessing over how if something is minimalistically designed, like Night in the Woods is, automatically it's going to be more appealing than detailed design.
Yeah, fuck that. Fuck that. I don't. That's bad.
You puts together the missing pieces,
Hey,
and
person
there's
who
no
made that
replacing your
video.
imagination.
End it.
Sorry. Yeah. And that's just a ridiculous statement. It's so stupid. Although, one thing I'll say about that, and this might be me transitioning into a different topic.
Yeah.
When I'm playing RPGs, I actually like it better when there isn't voice acting.
Yeah.
But, I like it when there's voice acting in an RPG when I'm streaming it, because I hate them tired after like fucking 3 hours of doing voices.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of mixed actually in that department. But yeah, no, when I'm playing an RPG on my own, like Final Fantasy VII, I really like that there's no voice acting, because then I make up what the voices sound like, and I make up what the acting sounds like, and a lot of it's up to my own interpretation.
Yeah.
So I actually like that a lot more than when there's voice acting. So, and that I feel is like the same thing as your brain puts it together a lot better than, you know, a more detailed. I get that argument, but at the same time, I also think it's really close-minded.
Yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
just so you know, I'm gonna sample that initial "oh my god" when I said the characters weren't pretentious, because the way you said that was so unbelievably dramatic. It was as if you were like grabbing. It's like, oh. I'm gonna sample that and put it into the song, everyone.
Yeah, man, come on, we're doing a show. We gotta have it, be funny.
God, that was amazing, because you were so like, literally, like it was you just going on this rant, and I was just like, yeah, Nine Woods is a game, and you're like, it is not a game. No.
No, you know what? They're not that pretentious. Oh my god!
Oh. No,
I've gotten a lot more shouty ever since being on YouTube.
Yeah, ever since. Yeah, you know, I'm just gonna say something. Hey, if hey, here's a what's it called? A pointer. If you're talking to Hayden, if Hayden stops talking to you, it's probably because you remind him of his high school self. Thank you.
Jesus Christ, love.
I mean, am I wrong?
Is this something I like told you, or?
I don't know. I've just analyzed this because every single thing you've ever, I don't know. There's something you really don't
Everything
like
I hate is just me running away from my past self.
Yeah.
Well, okay. I could probably bring that down to a more understandable level. Like, you know, I'm definitely falling into my adult years. And I think when people fall into their adult years, they definitely feel extra embarrassed about the mistakes they've made pretty recently.
Yeah.
Because, like, when you're in high school and stuff, you act like a total moron, and a really cringy one at that.
Yes.
And so the older you get, the more you remember that stuff, and you think like, oh fucking god, why did I ever do that?
See, what you need is to get to like your 80s when you get dementia and you can't remember them. That's the good part.
I'm gonna so look forward to those years.
Yeah, everyone's gonna be like, hey, remember your high school years? And you're gonna be like, nope, and they're gonna start crying, and you're just be like,
I'll be so happy, dude.
Yeah. Thank you.
Nah, yeah. The thing I notice is I don't think this is too personal. I've noticed that like over the past couple of years I've gotten a lot more angry lately. Which is nothing new. I used to be super duper. I'll never be as angry as I was back in high school, and I know that for sure.
The Linkin Park was smashing the walls.
No, because that wasn't angry. That was like just bitchy, and you know, I was a very quiet
I like how you
emo
responded
kid.
to us as if it was a real event that happened.
We actually have a hole in our wall, but that wasn't me. That was my stepbrother from years ago. We paved over the wall, by the way.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not just there, and like Ricky the Rat is just living in it.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so yeah, no, there was like a time in high school where I was just super mad like all the time.
Yeah.
And but that kind of mad was like I'd get into. I think it's also when I started developing panic attacks, because I would full on throw tantrums.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get out of the tantrums. It was like something I physically couldn't control.
Huh.
So in a way, it was actually really scary being in situations like that. But yeah, I've never had a situation like that since.
Yeah.
But lately, I've been a lot more angry lately.
Yeah.
And I'm saying lately a lot.
Yeah.
I've been a lot more angry.
You need to
And
make the angry reviews.
I need to. Well, no. What I really need to do is find ways to calm myself down. And lately I have been, which is good. You know, a lot of the, and actually, I don't know if I'm able to give like good advice about stuff like this. I try to give advice to people who have mental health issues, because back when I was having panic attacks, I was not getting really any good advice at all.
Yeah.
And that was really frustrating. But I guess one thing that I can say is like, when you're like in the middle of some like tantrum or frustration and you just want to be angry. I remember so many times where I'm just raging and I'm so mad about something really petty that I can't even focus on what I'm actually angry about. I'm just focused on the emotion of anger.
Yeah.
I remember being so mad that I would tell myself, like, I just want to be angry. I just want to be angry. And you just want to get that
be the
anger
angry
out.
video game nerd.
One thing I'll suggest is like physically do something. Like do something where you're like moving your body around.
Yeah.
Like if that means chopping wood or going for a walk or working out or, and I know this is hard for some people because when you're angry, you're also probably depressed, and when you're depressed, you don't want to like move around a lot because that's super, that's moving and that's really hard for you because you're also tired.
Yeah.
But I mean that, get moving and start moving a lot, and you're gonna fucking hate it and be really angry. But the more you like move around and get physical, the more you're distracting your brain from being angry, and then it will start to calm down a lot faster.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, don't punch people in the street. Don't do that. And by the way, by being physical, I don't mean get in fights with people. That's not smart.
Yeah, that might be interpreted weirdly as like, when you're angry, get physical.
Don't get physical like that. Go for a walk. Do something. What I mean by physical is move your body so that your muscles calm down.
Yeah.
Not take all that rage and anger and, you know, put it to good use. Don't do that. No.
Yeah. You know,
because you're just going to get more angry and you're just going to hurt yourself. You will hurt yourself. I'll actually say that for real. I've had moments where, Nick, fuck off! All right. I've had moments where I've had like angry fits. And I said in the past,
I've like
had,
that, I couldn't tell.
Well, I said in the past how I've had so bad where I've actually hurt myself. I remember being next to like my door in my room, and I like had my hand on the door, and I was just super mad, and I was like rocking my head back and forth, and my head accidentally bumped the door. Yeah. And out of rage, I just slammed my head into the door like 5 times.
Oof.
Until I finally had to stop myself and was like, holy shit, and I had to calm down. And I noticed I was actually bleeding. And see, like, I had to stop myself and be like, oh my God, I need to get out of my room and I need to like do something else.
See,
yeah.
I have a different method, though this might be a good I don't know. Here's my method personally to get over it. This method seems almost counterproductive, but it works really well for me. It's just for me personally. I just like to sit down somewhere and just listen to really angry music and just be productive. Like draw something, animate something, do that, and just listen to I don't know, something like that. And or another one, just lay down on your bed. Just lay down for a while. Literally just die. Just kidding.
No, don't do that. You know what? I think like a universal thing that we could probably both agree on. Well, a universal thing we can both agree on is just separate yourself from whatever it is that's making you angry. Yeah, get away from that, because all it's doing is just making you more angry. See, if you want to think about it,
the complex thing about that is that sometimes the things that make you angry is like it's not rational, and you're like, oh, I shouldn't be angry at this, and you're like, you have to like try not. I don't know, it's hard.
One way you can think about it, at least a way that worked for me. I'm a very analytical person, and I think very technically. So I like to think of my emotions as like literally just that, like they're a muscle in your head. Like, you know how when you go running for too long, your legs get tired out. When you strain your arms too much, then specifically your arms are getting tired. When you get angry, that means that there's a part in your brain that suddenly is releasing the anger emotion. And you just got to think about it like that.
Yeah.
Not in like a hyper spiritual, well, I'm mad because of blah, 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 and you start making up
My
excuses.
chi is acting the heck up right now.
Yeah, well, don't exactly think about it like chi. Just think about it like, I'm mad right now. I am just mad. This is an emotion that every human being in the world feels, and it's not because of anybody. Like, you don't need to start blaming people unless that's the only way you can get over it. Maybe then that's what you need. But yeah, anger is just a feeling in you, just like every other feeling that you have, and it's not super complicated. It's just an emotion that's being released, and you need to figure out how to calm it down. And everybody has a different way of doing that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I truly believe people that have anger issues can get through it.
Yeah.
I feel like because their problem is anger issues, that they have a hard time getting through it. But I think they genuinely can, though.
Yeah. I think you can get better if you go to Hayden's Patreon right now.
and you smash that motherfucking support button.
That's kind of something that's interesting. Do you ever think about how could you be one of those people, one of those like televangelists, like, you will feel better if you give me money? Like, how can you live with yourself with that? It's like, I don't know how you it's really
bad. It's scummy.
It's always
mean.
old people. It's always old people who are like,
old people.
I gave you my pension. It's like,
I gave you my pension. No.
It's more so disturbing to me in the sense that, like, how does your brain work? Because you shouldn't. I don't know.
Well, and also, like, when you're older, you're just not all there anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's that for one thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really sad, when you see like those infomercials and stuff. Because I've dealt with like a lot of older people as I'm getting older. Yeah. And in fact, we have this sweet, nice old lady across the street that occasionally she calls me over to help her with this and that.
Yeah.
And I do. But she is definitely the type of person that's like, oh, well, I heard this thing on the television that's telling me I need to put blah, blah, blah in. And it just sounds like a really good investment. And the guy was assuring me how good of an investment it is. So I'm like, oh no. Yo, actually, I have a really sweet story about that old lady that I think would balance out our anger talk we were just having. So my brother has a girlfriend that lives in Germany right now. And he is planning this whole long trip where he is going to go over and try to live with her.
Is he still planning this? I thought he had done it.
It's been a journey for him. Getting money is hard for him. It has to be enough money to sustain himself while he looks for college work and like a job and stuff. So yeah, it's been a trip. He's going to be leaving eventually. I won't name specific dates, obviously. But yeah.
Hayden will provide a GPS where you can find his brother and take him out.
Also, guys, if you smash that motherfucking like button, I will release my brother's social security number. He won't need it anymore. He'll be living in Germany. But no. So I was telling this old lady across the street, let's call her like Deborah, because that's a pretty good name. So I was telling Deborah across the street how like, oh yeah, my brother is going to be going on a trip soon. And she's like, oh, vacation is such a fun thing. And I'm like, oh, well, it's not vacation. He's actually going to be living there. He's moving over to Germany to live with his girlfriend.
Germany.
Yeah, no, seriously. So Deborah's mom was actually a Holocaust survivor. And yeah, so it's a bit awkward.
Yeah.
And, or wait, was that, hang on. Before I start making before I start saying things I might regret, I might be wrong about that, actually.
You mean where the actual fucking, I don't know.
I think that no, hold on. She was not I'm sorry, I messed that up. She was not a Holocaust survivor, but she knew Holocaust survivors.
Oh, okay.
Like personally, like personal friends. So it's a bit different.
Yeah, okay.
I did have a friend whose grandma was a Holocaust survivor, though. So, yeah. So, anyways, but Deborah was like, "Oh yeah, so he's moving to Germany? Well, good. God bless him. But you tell him to be very careful over there. I don't know what they've been doing over there in Germany for a long time, but I remember back when I was in school." All my classmates we're talking about how off in Germany they've got those scary camps and all the people there that suffered so much. And I'm like, oh boy.
You like
oh
go on a
boy.
little ghost trip and there's like people jumping out. It's like, ooh.
And she knows exactly, like, what happened. What she was trying to say, though, is she really hopes in Germany there aren't still camps.
Oof.
That's what she was getting at. Is she's like, I really hope that they've gotten rid of all of them, and that, the government isn't trying to hold them for longer. And I'm like, no. It's a lot better by now. No, it's so much better by now. And she's like, are you sure? Because when I was in college, and I was saying, no, they're completely against it. Germany is this nation that's super against Nazism. If any Nazi paraphernalia is even visible in someone's house, then they'll definitely lose their job and like go to jail and all this stuff. They're very serious about it. And she said like the sweetest thing I've ever heard from her. She just kind of gets quiet and goes.
It's weird how this story turned sweet because I thought at first like, how is this sweet story at all?
I thought, I just love what she said afterwards. I was saying like, they're super against like Nazism and all this and that. She's kind of got quiet, went like, well, that's real nice of them then. And I'm like, you know what? That is real nice of them.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it is. I would agree, yeah.
I'm really glad that you told me that. That's really nice to hear.
The thing she's talking about is like, it fascinates me because like this would make an insanely compelling conspiracy theory that there's still camps in Germany, and you're just like, wait a second, what are you telling me, Grandma? It's not your actual grandma, but
are you telling me the World War II isn't still going on?
Yeah.
Oh my god. By the way,
if World War II was still going on, that would be a fucking bummer, dude.
That would
not be punk rock at all.
I'd be pretty upset about that. I would definitely unsubscribe from the United States.
Why United
Can
States?
I say, what if someone is a draft dodger?
Yeah.
And they call draft dodging unsubscribe
because I don't like root beer floats.
Love. Oh my god. No, what if they call draft dodging unsubscribing from the military?
and like this Uncle Sam thing, it says like comment, and subscribe. I want you to like, comment, and subscribe, my friend.
Oh my god. I love that so much. I love that more than anything. I've elected to unsubscribe from the United States.
I wonder if you can dab in the military.
Dude, one time I was over at my friend's house, and they were dabbing hardcore. No, well, actually, yeah. I was over at my friend's house, and they were like dabbing.
Yeah.
And like, I remembered everybody at the party was like, dude fucking stop dabbing. That's so cringy.
He's crazy.
He just kept dabbing.
Whoa.
And it became like this weirdly like aggressive situation.
Everybody do the part, man.
Yeah, it became this weirdly aggressive situation where they were like, fucking stop dabbing. It's so uncomfortable. And he just kept like dabbing really
There's
hard.
Something really violent about dabbing.
You're just like, well, the thing I think of is that I think it sounds weird, but did Logan Paul invent the double dab where you just take like your two hands and just karate chop your forehead?
It's fully possible he did. I don't know.
Because I remember the video that he got famous for, I'm colorblind, so I need to wear a wheelchair every day, or whatever dumb reason he had.
To wear a wheelchair.
Wait a minute,
he has this
I didn't mean that.
Weird ass suit that's constructed of wheelchair parts. Like, I will wear this. I'll do it by colorblind.
I didn't mean that. I have to put on a wheelchair. Oh my god. Why is that so funny?
Oh jeez.
Oh my god, I have to wear a wheelchair. Okay, alright. Anyways. That was really funny for some reason.
It is funny.
Okay, so no, he made up some like that video was so dumb. But everybody knew that, like everyone was making fun of it by now. Yeah. What was I saying? The hell was I saying? Oh yeah, but he like at the end of that video, he's saying like, you know, oh yeah, remember to like and subscribe, you know, support the double dab or whatever. And I remembered thinking like, God, that's stupid, double dab.
Yeah.
But it also made me think double dip, which is kind
Yeah.
of cool.
Do like double dip. You know.
Do a double. Dude, do you think that? Never mind. I was gonna make some dumb
Do you
joke
think
about
that
like.
Nevermind is heavily overrated? Yeah, it's a good
No,
album, but Nirvana, I mean, as a whole, I think.
I was gonna make some dumb joke about like sticking your dick or something and turning it into a like double dip, but like it's not funny, so I was just gonna move on.
What have you ever hesitated to say something because it wasn't funny?
Love, stop it, okay? I'm gonna start crying on camera.
That's like that's one of my favorite comedic things. Just people being like, "Stop it, or I'm going to cry."
I'm going to cry.
Oh.
Love it really be a bit right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love, have you ever cried on camera?
I have. It's true, I have. I can
Wait,
actually
what?
insert the clip right now here in the thing. You said you
Wait,
watched
why?
my Doki
Oh,
Doki
no.
thing, right?
Oh my God! Did you cry?
Yeah, didn't you? That was the whole point.
Oh!
I'll insert a 5-second clip here. Thank you.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
My poor son.
No,
He's
it
crying.
was
No.
Actually, it was actually really weird because like it was a weird kind of it was the kind of crying where like you're obviously not like you're like okay, so you know you're crying, but like you're also screaming like I'm not blah blah blah. You're screaming like that, you know.
Oh, it's one of those things. You're like,
Yeah.
I'm not crying.
But
I'm not crying.
I will tell you, when I went home from recording that with Kubel afterwards, it was this weird psychotic thing where I was going home and it was dark, and I was just like silently crying while riding my bike. Like, oh.
Aww.
Listen, everyone, if you think I'm overreacting, probably am, but you need to fucking play the game.
No, I've seen the ending of Doki Doki Literary
It's
Club.
not the ending. I'm
and
talking about the fucking, you know the thing. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Thank you.
I mean,
It's just the lead
I
up
guess
to
that
and
was
all
kind of. Yeah, you know what? That is cry worthy. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
didn't
don't
cry though for some reason when
Yeah.
I got that.
I cry many things. I'm a bad person, Hayden. Well, okay,
I'm just a little baby.
not many
you know?
things
I'm
per
just
se.
a-
It's very specific things. I don't know. Like for example.
I get that.
Like,
No,
for
yeah, I was
example,
crying when I was
watching Your Name a few weeks ago, and I was crying
my
because it portrayed a perfect relationship that I will never have.
Aw.
Thank you.
Well, actually, something I'll say is, for some reason, I guess stories about like family and stuff really affect me
Yeah.
because whenever there's like a scene with like, you know, a parent or something that's just trying really hard to keep their family going and to like keep their child not dead and like still eating and stuff, shit like that like gets to me so hard.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I can talk about one time I was streaming Persona 4
Ooh.
and I actually was crying on stream.
Oh wow.
Nobody said anything, by the way. I guess I do it so much that nobody cares.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was crying on stream because it was a really sad moment.
Yeah.
In my defense.
I want to play Persona.
So in Persona 4, there's like this little girl character called what is her actual name?
Stinko.
Natsuki? I don't think that, wait, what was it? Nanako. It's Nanako. It's Nanako.
Stinko.
I remembered. Yeah. And Nanako is like, they totally wrote her to be like such a lovable character because literally everybody in the story loves her. Everybody in the story thinks she's so great and fun and cool, and so do you as a player. Like it works really well.
Yeah.
And there's like a scene where so basically you're like this character in Persona 4 and you're living with your uncle, I think it is, your uncle and his daughter Nanako.
Yeah.
And your uncle's name is Tojima.
Kojima.
And you're living at their house while you're out living in the country for I think like a summer.
Yeah.
And or no, not a summer, just for like a whole year or something. It's a long, complicated story. But basically you're living with this family and Nanako is like the little girl in the family. And there's a scene where you go out to hang out with your friends, but Nanako's there, and your friends say, hey, let's bring her along and we can hang out together. And then you spend like the whole day with Nanako being there with you, and it's fun and cool, and you like make her some food, and she's like, oh, this food's really good. And there's a scene where you guys are all at like a diner, and and the topic comes up of like, oh yeah, I bet that your mom's cooking isn't nearly as good as, this guy's cooking. And Nanako just very nonchalantly goes like, oh, my mom is dead. And everyone is like, oh, okay.
Just a laugh track.
I'm really sorry about that. And she's like, no, it's totally fine. I do all the cooking at the house, and I take care of Dad when he's back at the house. And even though he's not at the house a lot of the time, I'm able to take care of myself. But I do get lonely sometimes. The whole time I'm just like, oh my God. And like, she then says like, I do get lonely sometimes, and I really do miss my mom. I wish she wasn't dead, but that's okay. And then she looks up at you and goes, because I have a big brother now. I was just like, ah!
That's beautiful.
And I was reading this and like crying and reading it at the same time.
Yeah.
And everybody in the fucking chat is just all like, oh man, I love Super Mario Brothers. So like they weren't even paying attention to the fucking game.
And you got a chat thing from your dad that was just like, I raised a failure.
Then my dad writes in the comments, why are you crying, faggot?
Yeah.
Oh man.
It is, honestly, crying something like that, it is honestly, it feels refreshing,
It's great.
It feels good in a way, because
crying is fun.
Louis C.K.
Well, it's not fun, but crying is good.
Louis C.K. made a really good point, and it's not.
Did he?
No, okay. So he talked about this thing once that I think is really it's actually like a really it's a really original point that I'm not actually heard anybody say, because I usually don't. I think most arguments against like, oh, these new phones and all that blah 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 are like they're just old men shaking sticks. But he made this legitimately good point where he was talking about how like now with like all the smartphones and that shit, like we can easily distract ourselves from just feeling lonely and shit, like you're alone and you're like your soul, it starts to creep into your mind like, oh, the existential thoughts, and you're just like, I have to distract myself, so you listen to something, you watch something or whatever, and he realizes that there was one day he was in a car and he was listening to a song in the car and it was making him sad, and he was about to check his phone or something or like text it, and he was like, you know what, no, I'm not gonna do that. And he just stopped by the side of the road and he just like cried, and afterward he felt this profound happiness, and he says that he thinks that the reason, I don't know, people are just generally in such a fucking shitty mood is because like they never feel true profound happiness by actually like letting themselves get sad. I don't know, I think it's a fucking...
There's something I read about in psychology like years ago, way back in community college, that talked about how human beings work in a narrative perspective. And I just made up that phrase. There's an actual name for it that I can't remember. But
dissonance.
is that it? Okay.
No, it's not fucking...
I don't know what that means, so I'm just going to go with it. Narrative dissonance.
Ludonarrative dissonance is just like, it's become a meme at this point.
Okay, then I'll just leave it alone.
Yeah.
But basically, like, one reason why we like watching stories and stuff is because our brains react positively to watching conflict enter our lives and then seeing it get addressed and resolved. Despite how much we don't like to address our problems, we adore when we can resolve them. And so one of the big conflicts with us resolving problems is that we can't immediately solve it.
And this is why people
our
are so
brain is not
about Half-Life 3 not coming out.
Exactly. So like, think about it this way. You've been waiting so long for Half-Life 3 to come out, right? Yeah. And you're so bloody upset about it. But the thing is, Half-Life 3 still isn't out.
Yeah.
And you think to yourself, why can't I just feel happy because Half-Life 3 is finally out? You can't, because this problem can't be fixed in 2 seconds. you have no idea how to fix that problem. And it's, in a lot of cases, it's up to somebody else to release Half-Life 3 for you, to make you feel happy and secure with yourself.
I meant more so in that the story never got resolved and the problem itself just...
Okay, love, I was trying to be all cool and like philosophical and stuff, but fine, yeah, you can just talk about Half-Life 3 being...
Guys,
my main point...
Half-Life 3 didn't come out.
It actually is a bit of a shame, yeah. Now that I've actually played the games. But you know what? will roll with that as well.
Yeah.
Half-Life 3 is a story that like went on and it brought up all these plot points that never got fully addressed. Yeah. And in the same way, human beings, when we have our problems, we just sit on them for so long and don't resolve them. And the longer we don't resolve them, the longer they stagnate and sit with us and they get worse. Because our brains follow like a narrative perspective, we get bored eventually of having the same problem. So if we don't aim to solve the problem, we aim to make it worse by picking at it.
Yeah.
And then we just end up fucking ourselves because we just keep picking at our problems and we never aim to like get them resolved. And when we ignore problems for so long, like what you were saying, getting on your phone and just like ignoring it to death, you never ever address it, and so it gets worse, and then that affects your mood, and then you're always in a bad mood because your brain is stressed out because it's trying to process these negative thoughts. Your brain does have to process this stuff. It's not like it just fades away. It's another function of the brain. Hey.
Yeah.
So you're sitting there on your phone trying to distract yourself, all the while your brain is having to like push down these emotions.
Yeah.
But that's not how it works.
It doesn't make you feel good. It makes you feel
sad.
sad.
That's like, you know, tying up an angry rabid dog.
That's like holding your foreskin when you're peeing. You gotta let it go. I learned that myself.
But yeah, so yeah, that's some more emotional advice. Is that you know, you gotta let these emotions out. The trouble is though, by saying that, a lot of people think like the
message of today's Choice Scouters is watch something that makes you cry. Have a little cry. Go ahead, do it.
Have a little cry. Yeah. You know what? I think that's pretty good. Yeah. I think some of the problem with letting out your emotions is that people don't know how.
And also sometimes it's just like sometimes it's just discouraged.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I think it's always good to let out your emotions to some degree.
Well, yeah, I think unless you're thinking of harming other people and that's your release, then you should probably talk to a therapist and I don't know.
Yeah. There was because I'm trying not to contradict what I just said about like, you know, let your get like your rage and aggression out. Like when I was saying that and when Love was saying that, what we were saying is like get the emotion balance out your emotions.
Yeah.
Don't release more of the anger emotion, I guess.
Yeah.
How can I make sense of this?
Watch Inside Out.
What? Don't know. Inside Out is such an insightful movie.
That honestly, for some weird reason, I really enjoyed that movie, like more than most people. I don't know.
It's a good movie. I haven't seen it since the first time I watched it though.
Same here. I did watch it one time, but yeah. You know something, to get onto another topic here. You know, yesterday I watched the Angel's Egg with Owen. And
I'm sorry?
I watched Angel's Egg with Owen.
What did Owen think of it?
He really liked it, and you know I'm so realized that watching weird fucking movies like that with other people is my favorite activity because it's like watching a child learn on like another. Listen, it's like you're like seeing them on camera, like what's going on here, but you're rewatching it and you're like, oh, that's what that means. It's like it's really fun. Yeah, it's cool.
It's kind of cool, yeah.
Yeah.
I had
It's on YouTube, everyone. Thank you.
Yeah, that same girlfriend that I had at the time, I got her to watch Angel's Egg.
Yeah.
And I remember very vividly both of us like falling asleep because it's really fucking boring also.
Yeah, there's some shots.
It's interesting and a really
like
beautiful movie, but I've seen it like 12 times and its peacefulness really does put
I
you to
would
sleep.
imagine you will wake up at
it.
some point due to like there being very big spikes in audio at times.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
Yeah.
The chorus, for one thing, is super just like.
I will say, I do feel the sound mixing might be slightly fucking off.
You know what? Maybe it's the movie, or it could be just that we had a YouTube copy and that's it.
Yeah, because okay, I will say the fucking sound, you know, that's at the beginning and afterwards, like, wow, you know that sound? It is so
Oh yeah,
loud.
the.
Yeah, it is so
Yeah.
fucking, and like, I will say it does succeed in making me uncomfortable, but it's like, dude,
Yeah.
calm down a little bit.
I feel like, do you think that everybody in the world secretly likes horror and they just don't want to admit it?
I don't know. I think it's possible that there are many people out there.
Not like really obvious, like I'm playing a horror game. I
Yeah.
mean, like, do you think people genuinely find it more interesting when a subject matter is slightly scary? I say this because people consider
lot of
Majora's Mask to be one of the scary. Excuse me. People consider Majora's Mask of the Legend of
Fucking
Zelda
epic.
to be like one of the most interesting Legend of Zelda games,
Because it is.
but it's mostly just a horror Legend of Zelda
Yeah.
game. Yeah.
And it's really good, but I do think.
No, you know what? I'll take that back and I'll rewrite it. So give me a second. Let me. Okay, so instead, what I'll say is, do you think that people are interested in horror movies not only because they're scary, but because a lot of horror movies deal with psychology?
And PP. Yeah, I mean, see, I think that there are many people out there who stay away from horror because they're like, I don't like to feel scared. But if they got that initial taste, they'd be like, I like this. I think a lot of people might be scared to delve in. And I think I was like that for a long time. Like, there was a long time where I just didn't, like, look at any of this stuff. And now I'm obsessed with it. I love, like, really genuinely creepy shit.
Yeah. No, yeah, I love scary stuff. I got into it with Silent Hill, actually.
Yeah.
I still remember to this day getting Silent Hill 3 from like a fucking Value Village and being like, you know what? I'm not a. It was really one of those scenarios of like, I'm not a pussy. I'm not a pussy. I can do it. I can play a horror game. I'm not scared.
You scream at the old man. You're like, I'm not a pussy. And it's like, oh.
And he's just like, please get out of my store. Stop yelling at me.
A copy of the game fun.
I'm just like, I hold up a gun. I'm not a pussy. I'm not a pussy.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, son, don't do something you might regret.
And I'm your actual dad, and it's like this dramatic, like, Dad, is that you?
Is that Dad? And then I like slowly put down the gun, and I'm like, Dad, what are you doing working at a Value Village, Dad? And it's like, son, it's we couldn't afford to keep the house unless I got a job. Oh my God, Dad. Dad, wait, I'll give you some money right now. And I pull out my wallet, and he's like, no, son, you need that to play Silent Hill 3.
I must bear this curse.
You need to face
it's
like, Dad, no, this is way more important. It's like, no, son, you need to prove you're not a pussy.
Yeah, and then the commenters are like, this is a weird Radix opening sketch.
Yeah. And then I transitioned into Silent Hill 3.
Your dad's like, you must do something.
Son. Do you remember the one cold opening that I did where it was like Super Smash Bros. And I said, guys, let's start this video out with a smash, and then I press a button and outside of my house an explosion happens, and this guy goes like, oh my god, a fucking semi fell on my fucking house. Oh god, there's blood and fire everywhere. I can't feel my legs. Do you remember that at all?
I don't remember that, no.
You need to look that up again. That was so funny.
I will. Just for you,
I don't remember writing it at all.
Yeah.
I have no memory of me like sitting down and being like, oh, that would be such a funny cold opening. I wrote that unconsciously.
See, those are the things I find the funniest when you make something really stupid, and then like a few years later you could look back, it's like, what the fuck? What events led to this?
Why did I think this?
Yeah, why did I ever think this was funny ever? Well, okay, not okay. Like, for example, I don't remember the impetus for making, you know, the fucking stick figure cartoons where it's me, Owen, and James, the stick figures, and me going, hello, love, it's me.
Oh, yeah. I remember you making them.
No, yeah, I remember making them, but I don't remember why. What was the point? Why did I do it?
You explaining to me
Yeah.
those videos was really strange. It was actually like listening to a serial killer talk about why he murders people. Like you would just be very quiet and almost ashamed of what you're saying. You're just like,
What?
I just make these videos and they're really stupid, but yeah, I get Owen in there and he does the voice and stuff.
He doesn't actually do any voices. I do all the voices.
Shit, wait. The other one, James is in it,
James,
right?
yeah, oh yeah, James. I cut clips from his reviews and used them as the thing.
Yeah,
That was
it. It's like, I just put all these voices together and I put it together, and
And I mail it to
it's really
to the
shitty, but
police.
they're like, that's what's funny about it. I'm
I
like,
mail it to the
cool.
police and they have to encode it.
Dude, did you know that who's that one murderer? I think it was Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah.
The one that made like a lamp out of someone.
Oh, Ed Gein.
Ed Gein, yes. When they caught Ed Gein, he gave himself up like immediately.
Yeah, most serial
And
killers do that because when you get to that point, it's like you can't deny it. It's like it's just,
Well,
yeah.
no, it was really strange too.
Yeah.
When they came to his house, they were just going through and they found all this shit. And they're like, "Oh my god, there's all this shit in here, and like dead bodies and stuff." And he was just like, "Yeah, I would I'd go in and I'd like rob graves, and I don't remember doing it." Part of me that knew that it wasn't very good, but I still did it anyways. So yeah, it's like.
Yeah, it's like a kid who's been caught. It's like, why did you do it? I don't know.
I
don't know.
Stop being mean to me.
That was such a big thing when I was like, when I was a small kid, because I was like, I couldn't justify it. I was like, I don't know.
Aw.
Do you remember feeling?
That's like, I feel like that's actually more terrifying than like the conventional murderer status of like, I'm gonna fucking kill you or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Is when someone's just so reserved and quiet, like, I don't know.
It reminds me of that 911
like,
call where it's the fucking guy who's like, he's just like, he's calling the police and he's crying and he's like, I don't know why I did it. I don't know what's happening. Please.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh, that is spooky.
Yeah, that's like. That's
I think the scariest things in the world is when someone's like really, and you know what? A lot of I see this a lot in like Japanese movies. So I don't know if they just like really dig that, or maybe that's why I dig it. But that thing where like you're murdering someone and you're very casual about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it doesn't even cross your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, man, this has been kind of a bummer podcast. Can we say like one positive thing?
I'll say a positive thing.
I think it's interesting, all of it, but like, just think of like one positive thing to add to this.
The new episode of My Hero Academia. I thought the season was going to be shit due to the first episode of it being horrible, but.
Wait. All right, before you say anything, which episode is this? Episode
the absolute newest.
3?
It's the absolute newest one.
Fuck, I don't know if I've seen it or not.
Okay, all I'm gonna say is the new episode might be one of the best of the entire show. That's all I'm gonna say. Yeah.
Okay. No, I really like My Hero Academia. It's really
it's getting really good now.
It's really been churning out a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
I think see, I was watching this video lately that was talking about why Bleach sucks right now, which is like, whatever. And Bleach does suck, fine, but the first 2 seasons of Bleach were amazing.
Yeah.
All right, just let me have my weeb moment for a moment, okay?
I'm okay with that.
Try to balance out the mood. If you hear about Bleach nowadays, most people will tell you, oh, it's this trash anime that's, got way too much hype. But Bleach was an anime that was actually very good when it came out. It had like a lot of stylism to it. It was an anime that was more grounded in like reality. It was about just like a bunch of regular people fighting demons in just Tokyo City environment. It didn't try to get too weird and outlandish, and it was fun. And it reminds me a lot of Yu Yu Hakusho before Yu Yu Hakusho then became outlandish and boring. And that's another topic for another day, though. I still really like Yu Yu Hakusho.
Yeah.
But Bleach had that quality to itself. It felt kind of cool. Also, the lead cast wasn't a bunch of teenagers necessarily. They were like teenagers just about to enter into adulthood. So they felt a lot more like mature.
Yeah.
And there wasn't a lot of reference to high school. There was just so much about Bleach that felt very like fun and original, especially in like the early 2000s when it first came out. The first season. The second season, they started entering into like deep fantasy territory. But even then, that wasn't too bad. because the fantasy world that they went to, called the Soul Society, was actually still really fun, and it created like this massive cast of characters for our original cast to interact with. And this brand new cast was fucking amazing, and they were all original and fun, and they all had these crazy like character traits to them, and there was like you had your main plot going on where they had to save one of the original cast from being executed. All the while there's like this B plot going on about someone in the Soul Society like, you know, killing off members of it, and to like watch these events unfold. So season 1 and 2, I'd say, are great seasons of Bleach. 3 is when it started to go downhill, and the reason that it went to downhill, and I suggest you go and look up the video "Why Bleach What Happened" or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
It's by this one YouTuber. I cannot remember its name, and I really have no idea how to look him up now. But
Yeah.
he's a really well-known anime YouTuber, and he's made a lot of really great
It's an anime man.
reviews. Yeah, it's not the Anime Man. I don't know. But yeah, so I suggest look that video up. It's really fascinating. But basically, Bleach went to shit because of a bunch of studio meddling, and the main guy, Tite Kubo, being super fucking fed up with the way the anime industry and the manga industry treated their employees. Like, he was super pissed and became really disinterested in making Bleach because he was just getting all this like awful treatment, and he was getting like no ability to like, you know, work. And I think that's actually kind of amazing, because people in the anime industry, we talk about it now, but over in Japan, people do not complain about their human rights a lot, it seems.
Yeah.
Like in Japan, there's a lot of sexual harassment, and there's a lot of shitty
Work environment.
There's just a lot of work environments. There's a lot of shitty work environment issues, and it's been like that for decades. I'd even argue centuries, and it's never addressed ever.
Yeah.
Like, you know, oh, you want to complain? Well, you're fucking fired, and then you're out, and that's it. And the people around you will be like, yeah, he got fired because he just wasn't a good worker. And like, that's it. Not at all because, I work my ass to the bone and I can't live my life. I have to work for, you know, this business.
It reminds me of, it reminds me of the thing, was it? It might have been Cartoon Network or something. It was some cartoon, some sort of animation network where somebody was making like a pilot for a show, and it was like really good and people loved it, and then he started like rallying and he was like, hey, come on, like, guys, let's get the work environments better, and they just canceled his show and fired him.
Oh my god, was that? No, that wasn't Clarence, that was someone else.
It was
Oh wait, yeah, no, that was he didn't have a pilot that was very successful, but they didn't let his pilot go through, and he was fired because he wanted a better working environment. Can't remember what that pilot was called. Rebel Taxi made a video about it.
Yep, that's where I heard about it.
Whatever. Rebel Taxi, whatever.
Right, yes, my friend.
Yeah, he's cool. Everyone subscribe to Rebel Taxi.
Is a strange man, I will say that.
Pan Pizza?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all.
He's quite a character.
Yeah. Oh.
But he knows a lot about cartoons.
Yes.
So, Love, I was over at a friend's house, and they were talking to me about my YouTube channel. And you know what? There's a lot of people that message me all the time about ThoughtCan, and there's a lot of people, I realize, that really love ThoughtCan.
Yeah.
But you can more than anybody. My fucking childhood friends adore ThoughtCan, and they really wish I would bring ThoughtCan back.
Yeah.
That's all my friends were talking to me about for like an hour. Was like, just why don't you know what why don't you one of them was trying to give me like scheduling advice about, like, you know, why don't you take one day out of the month to record an episode or 2 episodes, and then span those 2 episodes out over the course of 2 weeks each. That way you only got to do a recording session once in the month, and then for the then you got to break up the 2 weeks. Then all you got to do is break up the 2 weeks with editing. And I was like, that's really good advice, actually.
Yeah. You're just like, get out of
So-
here with that practical advice, and then you fucking Kamehameha them.
Yeah. And then I completely wrecked the
you
house.
wrote their name in the Death Note book.
I I held aloft my mighty sword and entered Bankai form and completely wrecked them.
Yes.
I was straining really hard to remember Bleach just now.
Yeah.
I hope that resonated with at least one of you.
I hope that Resident Evil with everyone.
But anyways, yeah. So I was thinking more about like the future of ThoughtCan.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, I have like this plotline thing going, and people are very invested in it, as am I.
Yeah.
So I definitely am not getting rid of that. That would just be stupid. But what I do want to do is bring back the bi-weekly recording sessions. And so I've been thinking more and more about that and seeing how it goes along with this plot line that I've already established. And I'm thinking that I could maybe even do it, but I'd only start making plans for it once I finally release this next episode.
Yeah.
Because this next episode's like great and awesome and I love it. And
who's in it, Hayden?
I'm sorry?
Who's in it, Hayden?
Oh, well, that part of the podcast isn't exactly the part I love. But it has Dan and it has Tom and it has Nace in it.
Okay.
Yeah, that much is already edited, and
yeah,
that part's just, you know, it is what it is, and it was a fun recording session. But the thing that I am more interested in, sorry to say, is the plot line that I'm working on, and the plot line is a lot of fun.
The plot line plus.
Yeah. No, Plotline Plus is helping me edit.
Oh yeah,
now, so.
I actually let in perfectly. Okay. Wow, thank you. I'm beautiful.
Yeah, no, yeah. And he's a really good friend. He's super cool, and he's such a fucking downer and a giant baby, but that's okay. That's why we love him.
This is what I say, Tom. Tom, I mean, no, his name is John. Okay. Jonathan Tronovan Lennon. Let me tell you. Okay, so you. You know, John, he used to be on Podcast for a while, and you know, at that time I was like, he's a bummer dude. He's I don't know, he's got some.
He's a real bummer drummer.
Yeah, he's a bummer. He's a cummer drummer. But now I gotta say, it seems that he's gotten better. You know, I see his
he has. No,
the
yeah,
way
he's
he talks
a lot
on
better
Twitter,
than
and he's like, wow, what a cool dude.
Yeah. He can definitely be very straight with you sometimes, like, you know, rude in a very honest way, but it's forgivable.
Yeah.
And it's nothing that's like super like, holy shit, this guy is so annoying to talk to.
Yeah.
No, certainly not. He's a cool
him.
guy. Yeah. I love talking about my friends on a public in a public setting.
Yeah.
I just bring this up because there has definitely been arguments in the past.
Yeah.
But I think all friends have arguments. And
we've never had one. Especially not the public one.
Especially not, 30 minutes ago about Night in the Woods?
See, I'm trying to remember, what is the most serious argument we ever got? Because I feel like all of our arguments are somewhat like...
Oh, I can tell you right now. Actually, I can tell you right now.
Argument?
There was an episode that we recorded somewhere down the line. I don't even think it was ThoughtCan. I think it was maybe Chilling Skeletons. Where I briefly mentioned how, like, oh yeah, we had plans of having... Conjun House on ThoughtCan, because Dan was saying how like he actually got in contact with them.
Oh yeah.
And I was saying how like exciting that would have been and how amazing it was. But I was then going to follow it up and say, but it became obvious that we weren't going to have him on, and we just decided to drop the subject. And you just started laughing really hard, and you were like, I can't believe that you thought we were going to get Conjun House on ThoughtCan. Like you were so confident we were gonna do it, and I got very mad at you.
I don't remember saying that.
I got so mad at you, and I was saying, okay, love, okay, love,
I feel like,
okay, love, like I was yelling really loud, and you were, and to be fair, I think you were kind of panicking at that moment. Because all you were doing was just laughing more, and you were like, well, no, it's just you sounded really like, you know, you just sounded so like you were, you know, like you really thought it was going to happen.
I don't think that's so serious.
And no, and it got even more serious because you just kept talking, and I was just saying, love, shut up! And I was getting so fucking pissed at you, and you were like, no, because it's like, and I was just like, love, what the fuck? And yeah. And then that conversation just kind of petered out.
That's a beautiful episode.
Yeah, I wonder if that actually went public. I think I told you not to make it public because it was really uncomfortable for me.
Whoa, I don't even remember that. Huh.
Yeah. That was just an upsetting time.
Yeah.
But, God, welcome to Upsetting Camp.
Welcome to, well, no, upsetting is Killing Skeletons time. Thank you.
Upset skeletons. Rattly bones.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is the worst? That being said, though, I don't know. I don't think it's necessarily upsetting. I just think it's more like interesting.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's good you address stuff like this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, did you have something in mind?
You started a sentence like, what is the worst? And I started thinking, what is the worst Killing Skeleton thing that was ever recorded? And, I know exactly what it is. It was not released. And it was actually, luckily, it was not to the fault of us. It was because we had a guest on, and oh my god, it was fucking awkward. I think I still have the recording, possibly, if I dig hard enough.
Wait, was this the one with Haley?
No, absolutely not. Oh, I still have the second. Okay, there was a second episode of Killing Skeletons that was never released, and I'm so glad I had the peace of mind at the time to never fucking release it, because it was so petty and stupid, and I hate it. Do you remember what it was?
What was it?
It was you, me, Haley, let's see, I don't know, a few other people. I don't remember. It's a few people in the cast. And do you remember that it was just literally talking about Pixel Blasters bullshit? Or like James specifically?
That was an episode?
Do you remember that?
I do remember this, but that was an episode? I thought we were just in a call talking.
No, I specifically said, I introduced it. I was like, hey, welcome to the podcast. Today we're gonna do this.
Oh, wait. Oh, I'm remembering it differently.
Yeah.
What I was thinking of is that call we were in where we all decided to quit at once.
Yeah, see, it was really stupid. I still have the recording, by the way, just so you know.
Oh my god.
And, I could release it at any time, but I'm not going to.
It just seems kind of, well, here's the deal.
Yeah.
Not only does it seem petty, it also seems useless because
Yeah, exactly. It's useless and petty.
it's not like that was like a business moment for us, or that was like an actual career path of ours. It was just a thing, you know?
Yeah. It was
so just like a
stupid.
fun thing that we got into that turned out to be not that fun, and so we all called it a day. You know?
Exactly. It's perfect, but
half of the children at the time, so it was like, all right.
I would say the worst episode besides that one, at least we had a conversation running, but there was an episode where we got somebody on, and it was Dylan got them on. As always, Dylan is the bane of our existence.
Wait, love, can you? Oh, never mind. You don't edit these episodes. I was going to say, can you just say the name and then censor? All right, can you say the name and then censor it?
I actually can't because I don't remember the exact name, but it was
what the fuck?
It was a fairly popular YouTuber at the time, a Let's Player, and Dylan got them on, and it was so weird because like it felt, you know, the kind of person who you get on a podcast and like it instantly feels like they're trying to steal the show, and like it doesn't feel like an actual conversation, more so that it feels like them just standing up and screaming, just going, oh, and like they're not succeeding.
I know exactly that feeling.
And let's see here. Fuck. Let's see. Yeah. So that happened, and it was really awkward, and we were all like kind of playing along with, haha, okay, that's the guy. And then there was a point where he said something that caused Adam to want to argue with him, because he said something like, YouTube videos don't need effort, you don't need to put effort into any videos, blah blah blah, all it's for is money anyways. And I was like, oh come on, it's not about that. And then a real argument like arose about that, and it was so real and it was so uncomfortable. And we were all just kind of sitting there, and suffice it to say, it was not released. Yeah, thank you.
Wait. I totally missed the last part. So, because you kind of cut out on my end.
Yeah.
So, so like he was saying, oh yeah, it's all about money, and then Adam said, oh come on, no it isn't. And then what did he say?
And they started arguing back and forth about.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so then they just started arguing. Okay.
Yeah, and God, that was awkward.
All right. Do you remember how the argument ended? Like,
I think it ended.
did they come to an agreement at all, or?
I think no, it did not end well. I think it just ended with the podcast ending.
All right.
I think I have this.
Well, yeah, that sounds pretty awkward.
Yeah, but that's fun time. It's fun time.
Yeah, in situations, especially when I'm running a goddamn show, and it's so annoying because when you have a guest on, sure, the guest is not obligated to like perform per se, but you're expected to at least understand that you're on a show.
Yeah.
You know, like you don't come onto a show and like just like, well, this is an extreme example, but like you wouldn't come onto a radio show and like just whip your fucking phone out and not say a lot of things and just be like, oh yeah. You know, you don't do shit like that, and most people understand that.
Yeah.
Another thing you don't do is you don't come onto a show and like make it all about yourself.
Yeah.
Because first of all, it's not. Second of all, you ain't shit.
Yeah.
And third of all, you're ruining the pacing of the show.
Yeah.
Like any show in the world, think about how the show has pacing.
Yeah.
And there's like a beginning, a middle, and an end. And the way they do that is because the people running the show have to keep that pacing. It doesn't just happen. Like you can't just come onto a show and just be like, hi, I'm just here and I'm just gonna keep on fucking talking for like hours on end and just fill the air.
Boy.
And I've done that in the past too. Like I've been on Pizza Party podcast and I thought I was doing just such a crap job the whole time because I had no idea how to censor myself and keep myself in fucking check. No fucking clue at all. And I've only been on twice. They said I did an okay job, so that's, you know, fine. That's reassuring to know. But it's very easy to make a show all about you, even though it's not even your fucking show. And then that just makes you look like an asshole. It really does make you look like an asshole. Stu has definitely done that on the show before. No, I'm trying to remember if anybody else did too. We had a thing in the first episode where what's his face? John.
God.
Yeah, where John.
You mean the second John? Oh wait, no.
John Baker was the name I gave him, and
he had some problems at that time, I will say.
I'm sure he was going through some shitty shit, and that's why it was mostly my fault. It was mostly my fault too, because I just brought on this dude I don't even know onto the first episode of a podcast I was hoping would really go somewhere, and it did go somewhere, but you know I had to let this guy go, and it was very clear that like there wasn't a whole lot of like synergy's not the word.
Yeah.
It was very clear that like
chemistry.
Yeah, there was just not a lot of chemistry with him, and he wanted the show to be something totally different, and it was just like a mess.
Yeah.
So that's one example where, like, you know, it was just like a giant mess, and it should have been better planned, honestly.
Yeah, definitely.
Another mess. Not on Cat Icarus.
Oh, you know what? I will say, I think the Cat Icarus episode, that was actually surprisingly fluent when we got him out from this time.
I mean, the second one.
Okay, the second one was horrible.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Yeah. The first one we brought on, there was a lot of preparation. There's a lot of like, you know, guys, I'm going to be bringing on Caddy, and everyone, you and John were like, oh, hot damn, dude. Oh, Caddy's cool. I love his videos. And I'm like, yeah, dude, I love his videos too. That's why we're bringing him on. And we just had a gay old time. We were laughing and we were like saying, you know, oh man, this and that. Yeah. We had a topic. We were just talking about video game covers and stuff. Yeah. It was super cool. The second time I brought him on, though, Thought Cam was a very different show. Yeah. Like, it was just a show where we made shit up as we went along. And the energy that came from it was...
There was a time during the Thought Cam that was so weird, where it was like, everyone just fucking mouth barfed for like 5 hours, and it just was put up, and like, you barely even remember those episodes because they were so much like a call.
Yeah.
And it wasn't necessarily for the better, I'll say that. A lot of them were.
Well, and one thing I'll say is that the episodes where we were just making stuff up got a lot better because we got a lot better at making stuff up. As you can see from this call, because we're making stuff up as we go, but we've worked together and we get each other, so it works because, you know, we're just making fun as we go. When we both understand the rhythm that we have to keep.
Yes.
And we keep it well. So we get it. But when you bring on a guest like Caddy, he doesn't. And we shouldn't expect him to either.
Yeah.
So we bring Caddy on, and first of all, I made it like a big surprise.
So see, that was, I gotta say, despite us not being so good with Caddy, that was a bad decision on your part.
That was the worst decision I could have made.
Yeah.
I surprised everyone by saying, "Yo, guys, Caddy's here!"
Yeah.
Because I know everyone like treats Caddy like, you know, oh my god, he's getting hurt. But
that is how people treat him.
Yeah, well, yeah, but a lot of people like, you know,
People
freak out because, you know, Caddy's such a cool guy and a very talented content creator, and we had him on the show before, and
fucking machine.
Yeah, he's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I saw it as like a great opportunity to surprise everyone and be like, guys, oh my gosh, I brought Caddy back on, and he was totally down with it too. I told him about it, and I told him days in advance about it. I was like, yeah, I want to bring you on and kind of surprise people. And he was like, oh, cool, legit, awesome.
There was something we talked about like shit. I don't remember specifically what it was.
Caddy talked about how he ate shit as a child and got really embarrassed about it. Yeah. And then I made some joke, and then I made some reference about how at work I made some joke about how the toast was blacker than oppression. Just like a really stupid joke.
Yeah.
But Caddy was super duper offended by it.
Yeah. That was
and he made like a visible reaction on the in the episode.
Yeah.
And he even said on the episode, I'm very uncomfortable right now. Which was an immediate heart stopper for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was just a mess. It was absolutely a mess.
Speaking of that, I have...
It's not like he's still offended though. Let me just say, you know, the end of this story is Caddy's not still offended. The podcast that we recorded was like fucking years ago.
Yeah.
And I've talked to him since, and he's such a good guy, and he's so cool and chill. But like he didn't care. We just had a really bad day, and we didn't plan it out right. And I even messaged him about it, and I was like, "Look, man, I'm really sorry. I was trying to like do something clever."
It didn't last long either.
It did. No, yeah, because he also had to go.
Yeah.
So it wasn't even that big of a deal. And you know what's funny? Even after he left, the moment he left, it suddenly became a better episode.
Yeah, I mean,
because we started talking about like Ghost in the Shell or something. No, we started talking about this anime that Webb really likes, and we just became chill with each other.
Yeah,
it was nuts. Yeah,
you know,
and that shows that ThoughtCan is perfect because of the cast and not because of stupid stuff like, ooh, we have topics.
see that reminds me. I just want to tell the story about the stream for the record, just because it doesn't exist anymore. But there was this stream that was Dan speedrunning A Hat in Time that was on his Twitch.
Love?
And, yeah. What is it? What is it?
Love?
What is it? I'm serious.
Is this the one? Am I in it?
Yeah.
Love?
No, but there was this fucking stream.
This is not cool, Love.
I'm just talking about how it was really funny. Okay, so.
Okay.
There was this fucking stream that Dan was doing, because he was live streaming, and he was speedrunning A Hat in Time, and there was this really funny chemistry to it, because me and Hayden were just sort of, it was as if we were sitting behind him just while he was playing it, and just like screaming at each other. And there was one point.
Oh, you know what? And the reason I get mad is because I said some things on there that was like a live stream. It wasn't saved anywhere, and I feel super dumb about it now.
The funniest part about it was when we got into some more controversial topics, and we said a word. You know the word, the funny meme.
Yeah.
The ninja word, but
the ninja. Love. I say the funniest part.
The I ninja word.
Was. Well, okay. I'll say one thing.
Yeah.
That was funny. Only because Dan
immediately was like,
Hayden, I am recording right now.
No, he wasn't even like that. It was like, guys, I'm gonna have to send this into the people who are judging the speech.
He actually didn't, because it wasn't a good run, because we kept distracting him.
Yeah.
But no, Love, I say that's not true. I say the funniest part was when we got real quiet for a second in between laughing and making jokes, and I just went like, Love, do you ever dream of Minecraft?
Oh, yeah, I love that. That's funny.
And the reason I said this was because at the time, we had a friend that was like making a Minecraft server, and I had Minecraft on the mind, and that night, the night before, you know, we did this recording, I actually had a weird dream where I was like in Minecraft for like a second, and so I wanted to talk about that story, but the only thing I said was, do you ever dream of Minecraft?
Oh yeah, and I was like, hey, I don't have to dream about it. I bought the game. I can play it at any time.
And you were saying like, Hayden, out of all the things to dream about, why would I dream about something as mundane as Minecraft? It exists. It's a thing that's real. I don't have to dream about it.
I can play it at any time.
This is not a thing that's not a cool dream to have. All the while, I'm just laughing so damn hard.
That was a fun stream.
Yeah. So, love. Basically, what I'm trying to say is, do you want to be on the reopening of Thought Can?
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, 100%. Why wouldn't I want to?
I'm not gonna record an episode until I'm done with the other one, though.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to have that stupid shit where it's like, you know, oh man, we recorded an episode. 5 months later, the episode finally goes up.
You need to have a surprise.
It's like, man, let's talk about all these topical topics. Like, Korea is finally
fucking cool.
at peace.
See, that's one of those pieces of news that I'm just like, this never happens, and I'm just gonna fucking be happy that it's happening. Yeah. It's like seeing peace.
No, a lot of people are so like quiet and put off by it. I'm just like, dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it honestly seems like it's for real. They're just like, yeah, we don't want to do this anymore. We're too involved. It's like I don't care. It's just like whatever. It's good.
That's great. No, I care. I think that's fucking amazing because this war's been going on since 1953.
Yeah.
Like, and while it's not officially over, which is why people are kind of
over.
They
did it actually officially like put an end to?
Wait, was this like today or?
No, it was a few weeks ago. They officially like signed something and put an end to.
I see. Even the denuclearization.
That's happening in May.
I see. Okay, maybe that's
from
more.
Nine the Woods, Dennis. Let's get back to...
Stop! No, but I think that's the reason some people are still skeptical is because nothing, you know, real has happened. But I don't know. We're making progress.
Well, something real has definitely happened. Fucking Kim Jong-un went into South Korea, something he's never done before.
Yeah. Yeah, which is like, I don't know. Just be happy, my God. Like let's just
be happy for once.
Jesus Christ, like,
give pizza
like,
a chance.
why do we even work so damn hard if we can't celebrate once in a while? My God.
Give pizza a chance.
Yeah. Guys,
what if
Kim Jong-un just like sat down with President Moon and he was like, you know what? We had our differences, we've had our arguments, but why don't we just sit down and settle this with some delicious Papa John's pizza? And he just cracks it open. And you know who comes around the corner?
Is it like pizza champagne where you like crack the top? It's like cheese just pours out. It's disgusting.
Oh, gross!
Just pop it open. Like,
that's so gross. No, I don't like it now.
Well, if anybody draws fan art of that, I will fuck you. Just kidding.
Love, don't do that.
Okay. That will be pretty extravagant to have pizza champagne at the South North Korea peace meeting.
Oh man.
Oh.
So yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Let's end it on a high note.
Yeah.
Yeah.
North Korea and South Korea are in peace. This is an amazing time because not too long ago we were terrified of the idea of North Korean missile attacks, and now we're making preparations to completely remove all nuclear weapons from North and South Korea.
Yeah.
This is actually a huge big deal, guys, and I think it's fucking crazy.
Thing to be happy
I know people
about.
are being all like skeptical
and
being cautiously optimistic, which that's not stupid to do.
But once in a while, just be fucking happy.
Just be happy. The message of this show: be happy. Solve your problems. Don't sit in anger. Find a way to get yourself away from the anger. Make yourself cry once in a while and be happy.
And also, I'm gonna give a few album recommendations here and a few show recommendations. Everyone watch Comic Girls. That's a good anime. It only started airing recently and it's really good. It's
Comic Girl.
No, it's fucking. It's good. So,
I was just saying it out loud.
I actually just when you said it, I was like comic girl. You said it like the angry video game nerd says a game.
Ew, comic girl. Comic girl. More like crap girl.
More like dumb.
Comic girl. More like I want to hurl.
It's a good show. It's a slice of life show that deals with artists living and doing shit. It's fun. But watch me. Leave this podcast.
Me. Witness me.
No. Okay. Yeah, we're done here. I don't care anymore.
All right. Yeah. Bye, guys. Love you.
By the way, I'm just gonna one last anecdote. You want to know how me and Owen recorded a brief podcast yesterday? Do you know how it ended?
How?
It ended with me going, yeah, Angels 8's this movie, blah blah blah, and I was like, oh, that sounds cool, and I'm like, it's on YouTube, we could watch it, and I was like, yeah, let's watch it. And I was like, okay, yeah, we're watching Angels 8. I don't think I'm releasing this. That's how it ended.
Oh, we need to watch this movie together. I want to watch this with you.
I want to watch it with you, Owen.
Do you have it downloaded?
It's on YouTube.
Is it really the whole thing's on YouTube?
Yeah. You want to watch it, Owen?
Like tonight?
We can stop everything right now and watch it right now. It's just a little over an hour long. Come on.
Yeah, I'll watch it.
Yo, yeah, fuck you all. I don't know if this podcast is ever getting released. Yeah, but bye everyone.
Okay, cool.
Bye.
Bye. Love you. Oh my god! Yes, this is.